Hello, everybody. This is Michael DeGioia, and this is the number one best trader winter trading competition. This is the first week review. Welcome, everybody. We're going to have this immediately preceded by the Dash Trader Newsroom. This is a number one best trader competition sponsored by Dash Trader, Cobra Trading, and Benzinga. Thank you so much for joining us, and let's jump right into the competition first week results. As you know, my name is Michael DeGioia. I'm the Director of Educational Services here at Dash Trader and a licensed professional. This is our first week of the trading competition. Started on January 30th, going to February 3rd. Let's go and jump right into the results. We had a very, very, very dramatic finish of our first week of the competition. Best 1063 from Dash. Had a pretty bad day, but still leading off the competition with $18,238 in trading gains. Giving a best 1063 a run for their money, literally, was best 994, who was up $3,384.52 today at $14,254. And then, of course, we have best 1064 coming in and really closing in on the two leaders of the competition so far, with $7,232.90 in gains. Of course, we have all of our top 10 in the green, which is great. We've had a really, really profitable first week of trading for our number one best trader competitors. And certainly we have a little bit of back and forth, neck and neck race going on between best 1063 and best 994. So let's jump right in and take a look at some of the most actively traded stocks for today. We have HSCS, we have BBAI, we have AI, and we have CVNA, as well as RSLS, our top most actively traded stocks. Now, to me, most of these stocks look like our pop and drop stocks. As you can see, you got stocks that are generally around the $3, $5, AI being the most pricey at $25. This tends to be the normal, usual case. You've got the lower price stocks where you could take some big share size, and the competitors are generally trading these stocks that are popping up on good news, possibly earnings news this time of year. And then if we go back and dig a little bit deeper, we can see some of the competitors that, some of the stocks that are the old standbys. I don't think that we've ever had a number one best trader competition without Nordstrom, AMD, Tesla, AMC, some of the meme stocks, right? Nordstrom is it's obviously because of earnings. We have the TQQQ and the SQQQ, which are the amplified long and short of the market stocks. So we have NVIDIA on there as well. So we got some of the old standbys. We got Amazon, which had earnings as well. So you got some earnings names as well as some of the standard stocks that we're used to seeing here as the competition goes on. So certainly, let's take a look at some of these stocks once we get to the. Let's actually jump to the charts right now and take a look at some of these stocks. Hold on one second as I transfer my screens so that we can look at some of these stocks. Okay, just give me 1 second as I move over to my Dash Trader. All right, so let's see. Does that look clean? Okay, so let's take a look here. I got my Dash Trader on the screen. So obviously, the number one thing I was watching today, as you can see, was Apple. Right, Apple had some bad earnings, gap down in the morning, and then ran all the way up, only to fade a little bit here at the end of the day. But a very, very volatile and crazy day on Apple. We could look at some of the intraday activity on Apple. There was the big gap down, there was the big rally up, and then there's kind of the fade as we went into the end of the day. But let's take a look at HSCS. Okay, exactly what would be expected. Here is a stock that gap from $1.40 up to $2.60, rallies all the way up to $4, and then pulls back to close at 312, coming into the end of the day. 308 at the moment, 309 at the moment. But a big mover, what we would call these is the popper and droppers of the competition. Then we have BBAI. Let's take a look at BBAI. BBAI. BBAI, another really just it just took off and blasted to the upside, and then sold off as the day goes on. So we got to move from $3.60 all the way up to 580 at the high, and then sells off to $5 near the close. Definitely a popper and dropper. Let's take a look at AI. A lot of AI stories these days. We had a gap down on the open, very much following the same pattern that we saw with Apple. So you have AI gapping down, rallying up. I mean, in a tremendous trading range on this stock as the day goes on, from literally from $21 all the way up, peaking out at $28, and then coming in to close near 2609. We got CVNA. CVNA, we have a gap down on CVNA, very similar pattern, gap down, rally and fade up, and then of course close down at the low. But certainly this chart looks like it's topping out a little bit on the CVNA. Let's take a look at this on the intraday chart. Intraday chart, gap down, fade up, sell off near the end of the day. But that daily chart is looking pretty deadly. That one, we may see that one on the most active list. We'll probably see all of these on the most active, or not all of them, but at least some of these on the most active list next week, depending on how things play out. But certainly we have RSLS. Whoop, RSLS. Why is that one not coming up? RSLS. There it is, RSLS. Oh, that definitely is a pop. 25 cents as of yesterday, gaps up to 12 to almost $13, and then rallies all the way, hits 21. I mean, that really crazy activity on RSLS from $8 to $13 up to $22, closing at $15.50. A really dramatic move on RSLS. Let's go to some of the big name stocks that we see all the time. AMD. You know, AMD, very similar pattern, although I would say AMD is probably looking pretty toppy here from a regular technical analysis. We've got a triple top on the CCI. Let's see the QQQ. The entire market is looking like a triple top. We got a triple top, almost quadruple top on the QQQ CCI, and you have a really overbought reading on that CCI as well. So possibly the markets might be looking to roll over soon. But we've had a tremendous run for the entire month of January, as we've talked about in our newsletter. That is denoted of the January effect very often. That is the case when you have a year like 2022 where most stocks were down. Let's just jump right into it and take a look and talk a little bit about your trading strategies going into the competition. All right, let's just jump in here. Let's transfer screens. So we're going to share and talk a little bit about if you're starting a competition. And by the way, guys, I'd like to say that this is still anybody's competition. We've actually sent out a code. If you have not signed up for the competition, you can go to One Best Trader. Competition registration is open now. It is anybody's competition still. You could still join the competition up until Sunday. And certainly we've recently sent out our newsletter with an opportunity for you to join the competition up until Sunday. It is anybody's competition still. You've seen how the various traders move up and move down. Now you would be starting at a little disadvantage to our top three traders. but certainly they could also lose the money, right? And then you'd be right up there in the winner's circle as well. So if what have you been successful doing? You should ask yourself these questions as a trader. Review your strategy. What have you been doing that's been successful? If you've made some mistakes, what are they? And try to eliminate those mistakes. What have you learned so far? Okay. Overnights are not allowed in this competition. So we've already sent out some reminders to some traders to let them know that they should not be holding overnights. If you do hold an overnight, you will be warned, and then you will be disqualified. Okay, if you have not traded yet, you got to make sure that you start trading by next Friday, 2:10. That otherwise you will be disqualified from this competition. So make sure that if you have not started trading yet, you need to trade by next Friday. So you can't just sit out there and not do anything. Now, obviously, you might be planning your trade and only want to trade when the market is conducive to it. But if you have not traded yet, you want to make sure that you start trading soon. All right, let's jump right into the news. Most of you probably already know that January's jobs report came out and showed that non-farm payrolls have increased by 517,000 so far. That is 187,000 more than the market estimate. The unemployment rate fell to 3.4% versus the estimate of 3.6, which is the lowest jobless rate since May of 1969. It's a long time. I mean, this is a pretty robust market, and this might encourage the Federal Reserve to keep raising interest rates, and that's one of the reasons why the market sold off a little bit. Is so why are non-farm payrolls numbers so important? If the economy hasn't cooled off yet, the Fed might be encouraged to continue to raise interest rates. So that might start to weigh on the market a little bit. Yesterday's actually was 2 days ago, Wednesday's Fed report where Chairman Powell was somewhat dovish. He wore his purple tie and he was somewhat dovish, and that really gave the market a little boost of fuel to ignite that or continue that rally to the upside. But after today's non-farm number and Apple's really miserable earnings, even though Apple stock was up, that might cool off the market a little bit, as some traders may start to think that potentially there. It shows that cloud business is strong, but it would make you think, okay, is Microsoft able? So let's just go here 1 second. So the market might have cooled off a little bit as a result of Apple's really big miss, and that brings us to the next item of the news, which is Apple's big miss. The company posted its largest quarterly revenue loss, okay, since 2016, and it basically fended off a strong dollar because Apple earns a lot of its revenue in non-US currencies. That basically really hurt Apple's revenues. Is this dark cloud cover for the entire tech sector? And certainly, if you look at the chart, we're going to take a look at the chart of Apple in a minute, that this might actually present a problem for the entire tech sector. And really, tech has been super hot all during the January effect, January, where a lot of tech stocks have rebounded. Now, we've explained this in the past. The January effect is kind of the dogs of the Dow situation or dogs of the NASDAQ situation normally. But when the entire market was down in 2022, what that did was kind of pretty much put the entire market in a January effect situation. And of course, we have the other unsettling piece of news today, which was that China flies a spy satellite, hot air balloon, whatever it was, over Montana, and U.S. Secretary of State that's our Tony Blinken has postponed his trip to China. That throws a little bit of uncertainty in the market. When the market has uncertain, markets don't like uncertainty. That markets want to know that we don't have potential problems with China. What does this mean for U.S.-China relations? Certainly, we know Apple's revenue were down because of supply chain interruptions in China. Certainly, Apple is trying to veer some of its production away from China. But how many other companies might have bad earnings as a result of more problems with China? Could China be gearing up for a conflict with Taiwan? That's something for us to stay tuned on. And that's certainly something we will be continuing to watch. Needless to say, markets don't like uncertainty, and this throws a little bit of a uncertainty into the market, and possibly just at the time that the market was getting a bit overbought as it was. So let's go into our general market analysis. Okie dokie, let's do some general market analysis on our Dash Trader, and then we wrap this up for the day. So let's do new share. Okay, let's take a look first. First of all, first but not least, we have the markets overall. This is the QQQ. We got all the way up to 300, 310. We gapped up, ran up. Today we gapped down, ran up, top, double top, lower high. Let's look at this on a 15-minute chart. 15-minute chart indicates what is called a small N pattern. This is like the small cursive letter N. There's the curl, there's the drop, there's the rounded top, and then secondary drop. Now, that is a very bearish pattern. And not only that, if we put this on a daily chart, the CCI has a 1, 2, 3, almost 4 tops on the CCI. So you have a very, very deeply overbought market with a very, very negative technical pattern. And if I drag this back, you can see that we are at a major area of technical resistance. Let's just go back, and we're going to bring this back a little bit further. We're going to go back into... I'm going to go back to 2021, 2020. Let's just see if I can do this. Let's go 2021. Okay. So if I go back to 2021 and I put a trend line on here, a trend line ray, right? We do a trend line on here, right? So we broke our trend line. Usually when you break a trend line, you get a trend line break and fade back to the trend line. So this market got really ahead of itself, and it might be ready for a little short-term pullback that would bring us back into the moving averages. So we're going to keep an eye on this market, but certainly our CCI is indicating that we might be getting a little bit overbought at this point in time. Next, but not least, we got Apple. That's the big name of the day, right? Apple is again, the same similar pattern. We need to watch and see how Apple progresses as the week goes on. We have Tesla rallying all the way up into its VWAP. Okay, Tesla rallied right into VWAP. It is still to the upside, but that is a very, very bearish CCI reading on Tesla. This is almost like a rounded top on the CCI, so that is like a big blaring caution sign. If you are long this market, take your profits, cash that, ring that cash register, and it might be time to go back to cash and take some of those profits off the table. We have Amazon, AMZN. They had earnings as well today. Amazon, big gap and reversal. So this might be leading the market down. We have the big gap up before earnings. Today, we have the earnings out, Amazon's miss, and we have Amazon potentially leading the market down. Let's take a look at Goog. Goog, similar pattern, closing down on the day. Goog or Alphabet gapping into and through, rejecting off of the VWAP, and Goog also indicating that, again, very, very bearish CCI number, potentially going to drop to the downside. So we have a lot of bearish indications here. This is the SPY. SPY, similar pattern. 1 top, 2 tops, double top, possible double top drop. Needless to say, markets are looking slightly overextended. Let's take a look at gold, okay? We mentioned in our newsletter it was time to take profit on gold, and that is exactly, if you followed that, if you followed the taking profit at resistance, you're probably a happy camper if you took that and followed that big move up on gold that we had been talking about. But certainly this is not the time to be in gold as the Federal Reserve continues to raise interest rates. All right, last but not least, GBTC, right, which tracks Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been trading with technology, and certainly Bitcoin continues to do so as it's giving a bearish indication as well. Needless to say, we're going to jump one more thing. Take a look at oil. This is the oil ETN at all-time lows. Really, low prices on oil. I'm not sure, how quite to read that. Let's take a look at USO. Oil is kind of at support, but it has not broken support yet. So maybe potentially oil is going to be reversing to the upside. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Daily chart, oil kind of at support, hasn't broke support yet, but we should definitely keep an eye on oil, and we will do so going into next week. All right, let's wrap up market analysis and go through our regular announcements. As I mentioned, it is not too late to join the competition. We have keeping registration open for one more weekend. So Sunday would be the last day that you can join the competition. And stay up to date with all things on DAS by signing up to our monthly newsletter. Simply fill out the form at the bottom of our webpage at www.dastrader.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at DAS Trader TV. Okay, remember that for DAS Trader newsroom reminders, you will stay up to date and make sure you click the little bell so that you get a notification every time we have a new video. We are going to be starting a weekly live market review on Sunday nights or a recorded Sunday night week ahead review. So that's something to stay tuned for. Stay tuned to all things DAS by following us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And do not forget, check out Cobra Trading, who is a sponsor of our #1 Best Trader competition. We will be back next Friday to give you more market analysis and to go through all of the results of the #1 Best Trader competition. It is not too late for you to become the next #1 Best Trader. Thank you, everybody. Michael DeGioia signing off. Trade well, everyone. Enjoy your weekend.
Record.